Well, I thought that was going to be the end of the video, but here we have the 2017 Harley-Davidson Dyna Fat Bob, and in this video I'm going to give it a review and tell you why I think this bike embodies the true essence of Harley-Davidson. I've never ridden a Dyna before and I've always wanted to. I really love the looks of the Dyna Street Bob. That was a bike that stood out to me while I was growing up, but this one is definitely one for the bucket list and I'm very glad to have ridden it today. Big thanks to Sycamore Harley-Davidson in Uppingham for letting me ride this bike today. This particular bike is actually for sale. It's on the market for £12,295. So if you want one of these or this particular bike, you can give Matt a call at Sycamore Harley-Davidson and he'll be very happy to help you out. Now, if you asked someone what a Harley-Davidson is, this bike would be a pretty good example of a Harley-Davidson. It really embodies what you would expect from a Harley. It is a massive hunk of metal, it's huge, and it feels very American. It's so cool, it really is a really cool machine. When you get on the bike, there's so much character, and you really feel like you're one with the machine. The 103 cubic inch twin cam V-twin that's in this bike is very different to the modern Milwaukee 8s. It makes them feel very refined, even though they still are characterful engines and they have a wonderful sound with the right exhaust. This is a whole different experience. When you start the engine, you feel the vibrations throughout your body. It's a very vibrating bike, it's very vibey. But that's all part of the experience, and that sort of adds to the sense of occasion and the drama of the motorcycle. It is very dramatic riding this bike. This particular one has got Vance and Hines twin slash slip-ons, which are the same slip-ons I have on my Softail standard, the Milwaukee 8 107. It sounds better on this. It's got much more of a lumpy sound, which is nice. That's what you like from a Harley, a nice lumpy old school lopey sound, which sounds fantastic. And on the run over and the tick over, you've got some lovely pops and bangs from this exhaust. So this really sounds fantastic, and again, it's what you expect a Harley-Davidson to sound like. As you set off on this bike, I picked it up from Uppingham at Sycamore Harley-Davidson, and going off down the road, it really makes you feel, it makes you feel awesome, to be honest with you. It's a great bike, and the drama is something that not only you experience, but everyone around you will experience. As you set off down the road, people turn their heads, they look at it, whether that's for good reasons or bad reasons, depends on the person. But I've had two people stop, and I'm in the middle of nowhere really, and say what an awesome looking bike it is, and people wave at you when you're going past, so it really does turn heads. The riding position is very laid back, but also quite aggressive feeling. The forward controls are really as forward controls can be. They're right at the front of the frame, and normally I don't like forward controls, but they suit this bike to a T. They really do. And the riding position is very comfortable. You've got these risers here which bring the bars up nicely so they're in line with your shoulders. So it's a very laid back riding position, and a bike that I would be comfortable riding for long journeys. And this particular one has got a pillion pad which feels a little bit spongy, so a bit of comfort there. If you're going on longer journeys, you might want a bigger one. And this one's got a backrest and rack on the back as well, which is very handy, and it's one of those quick release ones, so you can just pull it straight off, which is fantastic. The 103 twin cam engine in this produces 80 newton meters of torque. No, it doesn't. Produces 80 horsepower at 5,020 RPM and 130 newton meters of torque at 3,500 RPM. So comparing it to the 107 Milwaukee 8, which is in my bike, it does feel a little bit slower. My bike produces about 15 more newton meters of torque and only about 6 or 7 more horsepower, so it's not a huge difference. This bike does weigh about 20 kilos more, so that makes a bit of a difference. But overall, it's a very different feeling bike to ride. You feel a lot more involved in the machine, and there's a lot more character going on. You really feel the vibrations of the engine and what it's doing throughout the RPM range. So you are much more connected with the bike, and it feels a lot more American. I mean, it feels like old school American motorcycling. It's a very different feel to the modern Harleys. And even though this is a 2017 model, crikey, it's so loud. Even though this is a 2017 model, geez, I'm trying to talk, which is the last of the Dynas, it does feel like an aged machine. I mean, they started producing this particular model in about 2013, 2014, but they brought out the Fat Bob in about 2008. So it does feel a bit dated for its age, but it's not a bike that you look for if you want something that's very modern and refined. Then you're looking in the wrong place. But if you want something with oodles of character, American feel, amazing noise, then this is certainly a bike to look at. The handling of this bike is much more laid back than some of the more modern Harleys. In the corners, it's a little bit more of a slow ride, but it's a nice and relaxing ride. At motorway speeds, 60, 70 or plus miles an hour, the bike is very stable, and the suspension is nice and soft on the bike. It's not too soft, but it is soft, so it means that going over the bumps and in these back lanes, it soaks it up all very nicely. Double disc brakes on the front and single on the rear. The stopping power is pretty decent. What you have got to remember is that this is a 320 kilogram bike, so it's not the easiest thing in the world to stop, and you do have to really squeeze in the front brake to get the most out of it. So when you first get on it, you start to squeeze the brakes and you think, am I going to stop to get around this corner? But you will, you just got to really squeeze them. You've got double headlamps on the front. One is the daytime lamp and the other one is the full beams. These were a bit controversial when this bike came out. People either love them or hate them. I actually think they look quite nice, and they certainly look better than the headlights on the current Fat Bob. And you've got this really nice sleek taillight design in the rear mudguard, which is a lovely shape. Everything on this bike is a beautifully designed part, and the quality is very good. I think that is one thing you are definitely knowing that you're going to get on a Harley is good quality parts, and they do that very well. There's not an exception on this bike. The fuel tank is a big one. It's a nice shape, but it's 18.9 litres, so it's pretty big. And fuel economy, you'll get about 5.6 litres per 100 kilometres, which is about 50 UK miles per gallon or 42 US. So decent fuel economy for such a massive engine. And you've got this sort of fuel gauge on the left fake cap as well, so no problems there. The seat height is 705 millimeters, and I am 6'1", and this is what I look like on the bike. So it's plenty roomy. My arms are at a lovely level. They're nice and wide, and they're in line with my shoulders, so very comfortable. My feet are very far stretched forward. I've still got a bit of a bend in my leg, but if you're a bit shorter than me, you might struggle reaching the controls, so it might be a good idea to put mid controls on the bike. The mirrors are very good. You can see most of the road behind you. Harley mirrors are always pretty good, and I don't think they've really changed the design of their mirrors for quite a few years because, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's a very good looking bike from this angle. The bars are very minimal because you've got the dial on the fuel tank and you've got this ignition switch on the middle here, which is very nice. A nice analog dial, which is fantastic. But yeah, you've got a very clear view of the road ahead and you can really see what's ahead of you, which is lovely. It's a very unobstructed view. The gearbox is a very sort of clunky, what you expect from a Harley gearbox, which I really love. It's very characterful and very satisfying to go in and out of the gears. The exhaust, you've got this Tommy gun style exhaust, which looks fantastic. Now this one, as I said earlier, has got Vance and Hines twin slash slip-ons. They look very similar to the standard exhaust. There's not much difference in looks, a little bit more sleek, but obviously a lot louder. So these sound fantastic. They're not overly loud, so they're not obtrusive. So if you've got neighbours, which most of you probably will, these aren't going to annoy people that much. I think people appreciate them more than annoy them. I mean, I've got an elderly next door neighbour and she really enjoys it when I start up my Harley. So this exhaust is a fantastic choice. The wheel style on this bike, they're very chunky alloy wheels, and they just look fantastic. You've got these huge beefy fat tyres on this bike. It really is a fat boy. It lives up to its name, and what a cool looking thing. So in conclusion, if you're looking at one of these old Harleys, definitely go and test one out. Have a look at this one. It is on Auto Trader. I'll leave the link to the Auto Trader listing in the description. What a fantastic bike. This one's in really good condition. It's only done 2,900 and something miles, so it's barely been ridden. I've done more miles on that on my bike, which is only 2 years old. I've done almost double what this has done. So if you want a low mileage, fantastic example of a Dyna Fat Bob, then look no further. This is a fantastic one to look at. Well, I thought that was going to be the end of the video, but the bike won't start, so I don't know what exactly is wrong with it. I know for a fact it's very low on fuel. As you can see there, it's been low on fuel, but there is fuel in it. When you shake it, you can hear there's fuel, so it should start with fuel in it. The ignition's on, it's not in accessory mode, it's in ignition, and it just makes that electronic noise. It's not actually ticking over. I can't see anything loose, no like lines out of place, so God knows what it is. So try and figure it out, but someone might have to come and get me. So this is not helping with that Harley cliche we get comments all the time saying, oh, they break down. This is the first time it's ever happened to me. So the newer Harleys don't seem to do it, but I'm sure it's something very simple and not something major. They're going to send someone out in a van to come and pick me up because, well, I thought initially that it had run out of petrol, but well, it says it's got 38 miles of range, there's still some in the tank, so it should start. So that's not the issue. So even if they sent someone with a jerry can, it's not going to solve the problem, it still won't start. So God knows what it is. I've just come back to it after going for a wee, and well, now it's saying low range rather than 38 miles. It is cranking now, but as if it's not got enough battery. So I think all it is probably just a flat battery. But Matt from the dealership said it's been on charge for like 4 days or something. So it should be fine, but maybe the battery is a dud battery and it needs a new one. So that's probably all it is. But I've got to wait an hour for a van. But yeah, it's nice that I've got a nice view. So I could be stranded in worse places, let's say it that way. Backing up him now, the problem was the battery. So after charging it for 15 minutes in the van, it started up, no problems. So it needs a new battery, but other than that, what a fantastic ride. I definitely want to have a go on some more Dynas and some more older bikes in general. So if you want to see more content like this on the channel, then leave a like and let us know what you want to see in the comments below.